Facebook login information. We'll head to there. We at least know we've got YouTube up and running. If anybody chimes in 15 minutes early, they may see a blank video. Maybe some blank one. Right. Yeah, it looks like we would need to have somebody who. Yeah. Okay. Now, right. Currently have it off.
Testing. Testing. Testing.
Thought you spoke. HDMI up there at the podium. I don't know if you'll be at the podium, but you can move wherever you need to be.
I in the frame. That's the problem. So are these like hold? Okay. Okay. Yes. Be the worst one to be honest. Wouldn't be the worst. We don't have any actionable items. Oh, it's okay. Hmm.
You want to give us another testing?
Testing.
What we got? Okay. Not too much. Okay. Oh, okay. Also.
Fortunately, parking was not an issue. Does this does it work? Oh, okay. Who's controlling it? Okay. Are these the type that have to be right in front of you, or can it be below you?
little bit nice.
A good test for the APC meeting. They're running that.
Michael.
Testing.
Another thing to mark it down,
Who's that?
document.
Like,
So what?
Okay.
Up there?
Oh, yeah, well, there's all those over there. And there, I wasn't looking. I forgot. Morning. Hey. You, I'm getting ready to submit my HSI. Hey, Tim.
I was walking down there, I was like, oh, yeah, what's up?
Getting ready to push the button. I need to get my financial commitment signed.
I walk down just to walk into City Hall.
It's a beautiful day. That form, what is it? Non-systematic, whatever.
Gotta be one
That
of the
form,
best.
I looked at it.
So the only things I've seen are what's been floating around. So you sent something earlier today.
Yeah, that
I
was
did see that.
standard.
Yeah.
thing.
Giving you a headache?
This is a form I've never had to do before, but it's
Yeah.
the
Oh, yeah.
safety,
I mean, it's nonstop, like I just
whatever.
vortex.
The list of, but it's not just being on that list. Is this like
Here's one,
a whole
this
nother,
is not today's.
why this is a good, the safety and the
It comes
needs
through here
and
and you're there.
how many people are dying and how
My
many people you're gonna
payment right
save.
there.
And
Yeah. And why would you leave?
have you seen one of those yet? What other people are putting in
yeah,
there?
it's like,
I just
lines.
made up a bunch of stuff.
We're actually gonna talk about that.
I'm like, oh, you're right.
Because
We
West
should have taken
Lafayette
care of
had some
some, get somebody on it.
So I thought we could all just,
Yeah, that form is the one that bothered me.
Ryan is here.
Is 88. Oh, I know.
Forget the name of that form,
When I
but
went. Oh,
they made it
We put.
like, how are you supposed to predict
We're
the
putting it all.
safety improvement, you know?
A lot of it's just
Had a notice
every
every
time
third.
to say,
That's your last
you know,
chance.
here are
Then you ignore them, you gotta fix it. So we made that always stop.
We can correct.
We didn't
maybe
replace
like,
the other three
is
curb ramps and they're.
maybe just find out how you can talk about that.
Yeah, and it was,
Seriously.
so we're just doing rumbles and raised pavement markings, and
How big was the?
North River Road was just paved last year, so I mean, it's just an ideal candidate. And it's so
It's been-
friggin' dark
It's been.
driving down there
One of
with
the
the
craziest
trees and
ever.
everything, and,
What do you, what project
I
you talking about,
did,
Jeremy?
Doug did kind of give me a little boost on that, 'cause I was
That's
talking
the
about how dark it
name of the
was.
game?
And
Oh,
being the
man.
corridor and everything, and he said, you should point out there that that is
Well, we had to
a
do a little shuffle on
scenic.
Third, moving
Highway.
as we parked there.
Those trees ain't gonna get cut
The old
down,
plaza
it's
side
never gonna
things.
become bright and shiny
Are they
down
gonna
there.
stay there or just temporarily?
So,
Well, the barrels popped up and I went, oh, I guess we need to move those buses.
Talking about preventing runoff. from the paving.
That's just.
Yeah, maybe. I don't know how long that'll,
okay, that's good
Well,
verbiage. to put
because
in
I
that
saw
little
when I
form.
came in,
So you-
I don't usually go that way. I usually stay on Ninth Street, so I
Especially
got
if
a
the
whole other
data
set of
shows
problems.
that has been an issue in the
Patching.
past,
Yeah.
even at
Like
any
that
point
whole
along
block
that corridor,
courthouse.
even if it's not the whole
Hold
thing
up
you're
patches
doing.
right in the center.
You know,
of the
just the fact that
lanes,
there are
the entire block.
curves along
So
that
they have
corridor,
to dig that out,
then
then
you
it'll take
can-
about a week.
Well, they've
use that
got
as part of your.
concrete
Well, we have
barricades.
all up and down
Down
there, we
by
had
Cincinnati.
an average over the last 3 years, and that
Split into
includes the
two
year that
lanes
was
there.
closed.
Someone had a big
Average
saw.
14
That's-
crashes a
that's
year
for the-
and
there's
three
concrete
person
patching
one, no
Okay,
fatalities
sure.
in the last.
You can say because of that, there's the possibility that there are safety.
Growth
issues.
and Purdue
Yes,
growth.
right.
That's what I was
Concrete
trying to figure out, because
There.
in the actual,
Last Lafayette
application,
Project where they didn't. pave
not a
the
problem, I
asphalt,
fill it
they
out a
paved
million times.
concrete,
This
so.
thing is wanting.
We're a fan of the concrete.
Weird safety
We
narrative.
tend to play nicer with the concrete than
Don't
the
like that.
asphalt.
Well, it's falling apart.
That's a new
problem.
program. It's the first time they've done it. We don't, have it. We're gonna
Nine.
do it again. So
Yeah.
everybody's kind of.
So they created that bizarre
Not
code.
this year, not with this project.
Nine.
West Lafayette. is-
What do they call it? Non-systematic safety. Anyway, it gets you out of having to do a road safety audit. I bet, I guess. is
They're
what
all
doing.
yours.
I mean, all this stuff can go into HSC.
That's the beauty, even the
So
ones that
then
aren't
you have to do
yours.
that.
And I
Well,
want them to
hockey
be a
is
team player when it's not their,
Yeah.
Yeah.
so I'm not.
So I think
Being
we're good
the
to
way
go.
it
I'm
sounds.
sorry if you're into paperwork and like that kind of thing.
Going already.
Real
A quick reminder, your microphones are always hot.
Oh, no. Oh.
So before we start, I'm gonna pass around the attendance sheet, but I would like especially the engineers to hang around afterwards. We have a couple of things we need to talk about projects. So if we could carve out just a few minutes, at least afterwards for that. that'd be great.
Huh?
Good afternoon. I'd like to bring to order this meeting of the Technical Transportation Committee of the Area Plan Commission for Tippecanoe County. Our first item of business is approval of the minutes from the previous meeting. I will entertain a motion.
Move.
Do you have a second?
Second.
Thank you. There are no corrections that need to be noted. I'll proceed with the vote. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Thank you. The minutes from the last meeting have been approved. Next item on the agenda is access permits. Do we have our NDOT representative today? No, we do not. Okay.
Probably down voting at the county.
It's voting.
Then we'll move on to the next item, the next portion of the agenda. APC progress report first, starting with the MPO update. And Tim, because you're handling is it Ryan? Ryan is here. Okay. The Sagamore Parkway West Safety Summit.
Yeah, let's give a brief rundown of what happened. So we had a good turnout over in West Lafayette City Hall. They hosted. Our objective was to kind of introduce the problem on Sagamore Parkway. Our targeted corridor is between Cumberland and Klondike. About half of it's in the county, about half of it's in the city of West Lafayette. So as many players and stakeholders on the public side were there, but we actually we reached out to some businesses and many showed. So manager of Walmart showed up. We had Cook Medical present. PEFQ representative was there. And so kind of went through the state of the corridor and basically after that led them through an exercise to prioritize as monies are becoming available via the city bus process that is unfolding and the work that County Highway is already engaged in with their sidewalk efforts. Where do we want to go from there as funding becomes available by hook or by crook? So we led them through an exercise where they could kind of prioritize where they want those changes to be made, where we should target the funds first, working under the assumption that we don't have enough to do it all at once. So where do we want the best bang for the buck? So led them through that exercise and thank them for their time. We plan on assembling another meeting in the future. It's not set yet. To kind of go over the prioritization and to, I think, start to have more of a serious discussion on trying to establish some sort of partnership between the private entities, the public entities, to see that we could find some way to achieve a mutual benefit for both and work together to try to address some of these concerns. But it's very valuable, especially for having the private folks there. They're definitely interested in this process. They see the future. They see, many of them have customers and employees that use this corridor, so they have a stake in this and they see the value of it. And so we're excited to see where we can go from here with it. So, Tim, I don't know if you had any other follow-up with that.
Yeah, I think things went really well. It was well attended. Big thank you to West Lafayette for hosting.
Mhm.
And yeah, we look forward to kind of see where this is going and sorting through some of the funding, especially which we know is going to be the next really big hurdle.
Mhm.
But off to a great start. So thanks to everyone who was able to make it to that.
Yep. Thank you.
Thank you. So our next item is federal functional class update. Doug?
Good afternoon, everyone. Before I jump into this, I'd like to add some additional information that actually arrived late this morning regarding the Sagamore Parkway West, and that for those who attended the meeting, and then also for you who did not, earlier this year, some of us worked with NDOT to put together a sidewalk safety project in this area. And, right after the meeting, we learned that it looked like that did not get funded. So it was rather interesting that we received an email late this morning that it appears that project was funded. The cost is $1.5 million just for construction, and it's targeted in 2029. So we did ask for more information, specifically where the sidewalks that they're going to be building with this be located. But some good news that we actually received just a bit ago. So I wanted to pass that along. So going on to the functional classification, again, this is done every 10 years following the census. We first look at the urban area boundary, and then after that, we look at the functional classification of all of the roads within the county. We've presented this information earlier. We've had some good discussion about it. We'd like to let all of you know that we did submit the GIS files to NDOT on September 20th. for their review, and so far, we have not heard anything back. If it's like the last couple years, they will probably respond maybe next year or the year after. Unfortunately, that just happened, but it was, those times basically were just involved with staffing, people retiring and whatnot. So hopefully we'll get this project rolling to the next stage soon. It's kind of interesting looking at the overall mileage, and we did not set this up like this. Just give you kind of some bits of information. The interstate, of course, should not have that many miles. But there is 53.18 miles, which is 2.8% of the road mileage in Tippecanoe County, which is not surprising. On the other side, we should have more roads that are classified local, which we do, 1,188.147 miles, 62.5%. And then if you look at the others between principal arterial, minor arterial, and the major and minor collectors, it's pretty well evenly distributed. For principal arterial, 137.97 miles. Minor collector is almost identical, 141.65, which that's about 7.3, 7.5%. For the minor arterial, a pinch more, 184.89 or 9.7%, just under 10%. And then major collector, 194.81 miles or 10.2%. So between those four, it's almost fairly equal. So I think without doing that, I think we hit, at least my opinion, the target's what we were looking for. So we didn't over assign any one particular classification. So, but we wanted to bring this to you and tell you that it was submitted to NDOT and what the breakdown of the mileage was. Are there any questions or comments? Hey, thank you.
Thank you. The next item is statewide safety performance measures. Tim?
Yes, so this is something that we do kind of annually. We're not quite to the point where we're going to officially approve that yet, and that does happen through our policy board. But we did just kind of want to give everyone a reminder of what this is, and just kind of an FYI that NDOT has given us some numbers. So there are 5 different performance measures that we have to, the state has to report on each year to Federal Highway. And then Federal Highway monitors if they are able to meet those performance measures or make progress towards meeting those. And depending on how well they do on that, that shifts around potentially some of the funding that the state gets. So if they do meet the targets or make progress towards them, then it will kind of be what we might think of as normal or standard funding. If they don't, then additional funding gets shifted into safety specific funding to help try to meet some of these goals. And so as the MPO, we have the opportunity to either set our own performance measures, which is a very lengthy process, and we have never chosen to do that. That would absorb a lot of staff time and make a lot of extra work. Or we can do what we've typically done, which is to concur with and support the state's performance measures and say, yes, we agree with these. We're going to do, everything within our ability locally to make our highway network safer so that we can move towards these goals as part of the team with the state. So we will be adopting these through the policy board probably in either December or January. If you do want more information, the numbers are on the screen. So I'm happy to answer any questions about these. All right,
Okay.
looks like there are none, so.
So next items, Doug, you're back at the podium. Annual listing of projects and then followed by federal funding update.
Since 2006, we have produced the annual listing of projects, or since we like acronyms, the ALOP. And it's a good document that covers not only what our federal aid projects include, but it also includes projects that are funded solely with local funds and also city bus projects. So it's a good overall comprehensive picture of our transportation system for the previous year. And of course, this is a requirement directly in the congressional transportation legislation. So we have to do it. And the deadline to produce these documents is September 30th of each year. Good news is that we successfully produced the 2024 fiscal year document, and it has been uploaded on our website. That was done of September 16th, and you can look through it. Same format as we have had in the past few years. Thank you for putting it up. We have in the front part basic information and summaries about both state and local projects. Then we have detailed tables, more specific for state projects and local projects, specifically like funding for right-of-way, funding for engineering, funding for construction. And then following that, we have a section on city bus and the information they provided us. And then the big section, of course, is for each project, we have an individual project page, which we give specific details, and then also a timeline, and then aerial photo of where it's located and pictures of the project. Now, in the past, we've usually included a completion section, and unfortunately this year, just due to the staffing, we have a lot of other stuff going on. We're not able to complete that section. So I know everybody's disappointed, but we just unfortunately didn't have enough staff hours to put that section together. So again, it is, as shown here, available on our APC transportation webpage specifically. Oh, that's nifty. Where on our annual listing, the top document right there. So if you find yourself in the need of not being able to sleep, please feel free to read it. It will definitely put you to sleep. So going on to the next bit of information, our status of our federal funding. Of course, we have it, our typical page. I'd like to point on top that we have some new information regarding obligation of funds for South 9th Street and Soldiers Home Road. This is the information that NDOT actually sends us, specifically the central office. And with those bits of information, I can officially say that our federal 2024 federal funds have been obligated. We did not leave any on the table and we did not lose any. So the next stage is to obligate our 25 funds, of course. Highlighted in blue is a task that we needed to do in our office, and that was to flex a portion of our safety funds over to STBG funds for the Morehouse Road project. We did go through that process and that was successful. So we'll see that transfer showing up in the box on top next month. So otherwise, hopefully next month we will have some good bidding results. And at that time, then show that a lot of our federal funds have been obligated. Any questions regarding that?
There appear to be no questions. So you also have the next item,
Yes.
our 18-month letting list.
On the list, the first project is a new traffic signal at State Road 26 in McCarty Lane. Of course, the curious George and me looked on NDOT's website, specifically the contract bid letting, and this is rather interesting that for this project, there were 7 bidders. And it's like, it's been a while since I've seen that many bids on one project. So this must be a really exciting project. Anyway, the engineer's estimate was $278,000 and change, and the low bid was from James H. Drew Corporation for $271,112. So if the bids looks good, we might have a new traffic signal soon at that intersection. So some good news on that point. The next projects, projects 2 through 6 are on next month's bidding list. They have not been, the bids, in terms of the project list have not been posted yet, so I can't give you a confirmative yes or no, but fingers are crossed and some projects are coming up, 2 of which are Stu's, the, Bridge 527 on Old US 231, and then Phase 2 of Morehouse Road. So hopefully we'll get good bids for both of those projects. And the one that I've tracked fairly closely, the truss reconstruction project on State Road 225, the bridge over the Wabash River. So we hopefully that will attract some bids and we will get that project going. If you look down the list on both sides, you will see a lot of S's, which means that they are on track. Only a few changes, and I'll point those out. Project number 9, this is a bridge deck overlay project on US 52. It slipped from a December 24 bid letting to a February 25 bid letting. No information was being shown for the Veterans Home, the Park Road Maintenance Project. That did not show. And then I think we mentioned this last month, the 9th Street project, at least the first phase has been moved from the August 2025 bid letting to January 26 bid letting. And even with that move, while it seems fairly a substantial date change, there is no issue with our federal funds with that. So that is well within the time frame which we need to obligate the federal funds. So questions or comments?
I have a comment. If we could
Yes.
go back to maybe 7 or 8, the one that says signal visibility, number 7, just for everybody in the room. NDOT started a process of traffic signal safety upgrades for visibility and a signal head per lane, flashing yellow arrow, left turn type movements, and Tippecanoe County was the first. Lafayette, West Lafayette, we didn't have permission to do the arrows when we started our traffic visibility project. So we did 2 years of signals up here at the beginning of the program. Then we got the flashing yellow arrow approved, and then their 3rd year was in Terre Haute. And as we worked our way around the district, we're back, and that project will finally get the flashing yellow type change. I think we got the signal head, and we may not have a signal head per lane for everyone because flashing arrow is part of that. But the back plates and some other improvements occurred originally. This time we're going to bring the flashing arrows to the area that we thought we would start on about 15 years ago. Yeah, you're getting them last, but I've heard no complaints. But that's what that project is about.
Excellent.
Are there any more questions or comments? Okay, there appear to be none. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, we come to the portion in our, oh, yes, we need to go back and to the item of access permits, our NDOT representative.
Didn't bring them.
No, I have them. I have them. So just a short story. I'm late again. I'm sorry. I was at our West Lafayette sub. It's like I'm 5 minutes away, right? And like an idiot, I chose to come through campus behind some equipment that was running 10 miles an hour. So by the time I got to the county building for the meeting, that wasn't there. Sorry. I'm going to start trying to arrive 30 minutes early so that I can maybe be 5 minutes on time. With all that said, our permit manager, who was off on FML because he had a baby, is back. I reminded him yesterday and again this morning, and we got information, didn't we? There it is on the screen. So Justin is updated. I think it's the first update in 3 months. So the red, if you can just pan to there's red at the bottom and there's red at the right-hand side that we can't all necessarily see. Yeah. So the red is the updates. And in a nutshell, several things have changed in the last 3 months. The 4 at the bottom are permits that have been complied, which basically means they're done and they'll drop off the list. So there's probably very little interest. Just know those are finally complete in terms of our applying the permit. Also here on the right-hand side, at least one of these permits, we've had a punch list and we're waiting for a few items to be cleaned up. So a lot of these permits are wrapping up. I don't know at a glance. I looked at them this morning. I'm not sure. You can tell by the dates how many might be new since the last list, which was 3 months ago. So this is a pretty thorough update from what you haven't seen for a couple of months. So I'll pause. Does anybody locally have any questions that you see as I just review?
I'm sorry.
I know it's a large spreadsheet with a lot of good information that just won't all fit on the screen. I have a question for you, Stu. So we know that at 52 and 450, we had to do an addendum, which is listed as a second permit for the traffic signal.
Mhm.
Is that signal on yet?
No, we're still waiting on the 5, 6 and head.
Okay, so we still have an equipment issue causing a delay. But as soon as that comes, there's nothing stopping that being hung and the signal turned on.
Right.
Excellent.
Ready to go.
Which is a temporary signal as it is turned on. And then over time, we'll see when the temporary need ends and if a warrant is met by that time. That's where we are on that
I've
signal.
been counting that continuously just as a tracking thing.
Appreciate that. Try to build a case
Through the whole.
that it's improving.
Seeing how
Volumes.
it's working
Yes.
and what people are doing but there's so much construction around here. It's really a mess. I like our Morehouse and then the effects.
It gets tricky sometimes when we put up a temporary
Yeah.
signal because of a need. And then other things are happening and it's like, well, that need is changing, but we still need a temporary signal. That's what this one was. We've got a couple in the Lebanon area like that too. It's been a little hard to manage, but we have a plan, right? So.
Well, and I noticed that you get the Mayos out at the roundabout at number 10, 026. Somebody put them out there.
The roundabout on 26
Central
and
roundabout
Newman
at
Road,
26 and Lindbergh
Lindbergh.
400 out there. Remember that? Maybe it was Them or-
Where we did the road safety audit, where we're thinking about a roundabout.
Yes.
Okay.
And
If
there's
there are
Mayos
cameras out there, I'm sure there are ours and we're gathering more data.
and gathering more data. But whoever ordered those does realize that 26 is closed.
I don't know, since I didn't know we were counting out there.
Yeah, I just.
I'll relay that back to
Throwing
Tim's
that
team.
out.
Okay.
It's gonna be iffy kind of data.
Yeah, we want more data, not less data normally, so.
Yeah, and the only other thing on this, while we're just chit chatting between the
Mhm.
two of us. When the Love's truck stop, do you do a final inspect on that when you close that permit?
For the part that affected us,
Okay,
and again, we've complied it, so we've done that, that part's over.
okay.
How about
'Cause
on your end, have you complied your?
We did for the release, all the buildings and stuff, and on our side, we were happy, but we did notice that there was a little push up in the turn lane. And didn't know if you'd pick that.
Whether we caught it or not, we've complied it, so now maintenance will take care of
We'll
any
have to
problems
take
that come
care
up.
of it.
We try not to put
The
maintenance in that situation, but
Yeah.
occasionally.
A lot of trucks are doing that and they
Okay.
started pushing that turn lane.
Any other comments on any other permit items? Doesn't look like it. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, so now our next item is other business. Does anyone have any other business that was not on the agenda to bring forward? There appearing to be none. We have a space for citizen comments if anyone wishes to come forward. There appear to be none. The next item is adjournment. I will entertain a motion for that.
Make a motion.
Seconded.
Thank you. All in favor, please say aye.
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 That was unanimous. I declare the meeting adjourned.
If anyone didn't sign in, we had a sign-in sheet going around. I know it's a little
It made its way around.
choppy, but even those out in the audience, if we could get you, just so we have a record of your attendance.
Yeah. I don't know. And that make you nervous. That's a good idea. This is higher.
Get it through.
County signal there.
Would be nice, yeah.
I don't
But-
know.
Yeah.
No, I
don't.
Long way to go there, that means that number produced. These adjustations, actually, because I just. About low times.
Yeah, from
And it seemed like it
We're
was
walking this way.
the implementation side.
Flying towards.
Yes, he was. He was like, and then it was.